Hello, everybody. My name is Badrinaran and I am from Bangalore in India. And I've been playing chess for the last 8 years. And recently I started to sharing my games and chess knowledge on YouTube. I documenting my games, adding commentary on my own games, like why I made a particular move, why the opponent could have made a particular move, and all that. But in today's video, it's a little bit different, where I'm going to show you a simple yet elegant checkmate pattern called as a legal smith. This is a mating pattern that arises very quickly in the game for white, and especially when black plays the Philidor's defense. You, you can try this in other defenses as well, but in Philidor's defense, the moves are such that there are more opportunities to execute this tactic, and that's why I'm going to use that as as my example. But I will also tell you like when you can do this and when you cannot do this, right? So yeah, let's just jump into it. White starts with e4, black responds with e5, knight jumps to f3, and in Fido's defense, black protects this pawn with d6. Okay, now I'm going to bring my bishop to c4, and in this case, let's assume that black is a little bit scared of the fried liver, and so he plays h6 to ensure that knight cannot jump in here. Okay, so knight cannot jump in here. And at this point, I bring up the other knight. And now black thinks, okay, I can pin this knight. I can develop a piece while pinning one of his pieces. That's the idea behind this. And black thinks that this knight is pinned to this queen. But the truth is, this is where legal smith starts. And we ignore the spin, jump this knight and take this pawn. Okay. And first it looks as though we have blundered heavily. We just lost a full queen. And yet, look at the rating. Look at the elo. The elo is 1.8, 1.74. Let's round it up to 1.8. Why? Because in this position, if bishop takes the queen, it's m2. It's m2 for white. The idea is bishop takes this pawn, gives this check. King cannot come here. Knight is controlling that square. And these two square are occupied by the king's own pieces. So the only option for king is to come forward. And at that point, the other knight jumps in and it's checkmate. Looks elegant, doesn't it? I mean, it's such a beautiful pattern, and you have won the game in just 7 moves. So, but let's look at the realities of it. Obviously, black made some mistakes, and the key move was h6. Because if black didn't do h6, this pattern would not have been possible. Let's go back. Now, let's say, once again, I'm keeping the Pilidor defense. But let's say as soon as he does it, let's get rid of h6. After bc4, let's say he does some normal moves. Like, for example, let's say he brings the knight to f6. As soon as he brings the knight to f6, legal's mate tactic is completely thrown out. In fact, uh, n6, nf6 is the one that kills this entire sequence decisively. It's just complete death. You can't do anything. You have to go through normal moves. You bring this knight to defend. You then bring this pawn, and you want to, if he pins you, you want to do this and all those things. Okay. Just remember that nf6 is a killer move in this particular tactic. Let's say now, or he does bishop f7, bishop e7. Once again, the tactic is thrown out the window because let's say I do this and he does that, and now if I take this pawn, it's definitely a massive blunder. Huh. I don't understand why it's only minus 3.0. Okay, because now he can happily take this queen. Because if you try this tactic, the problem now is the only square for the king is here. Earlier, that square was occupied by his own bishop, which is why he could not go there. But now he can go there. There are no more checks. You have lost your queen. You are going to lose one of these two pieces now. and it's just an unrecoverable position. Don't even think. Okay. So once again, if he does bishop to e7, you can't try this tactic. Quite as easy and simple as that. Now the last one I'm going to look at is this knight to c6. Okay. And for a long time, I also thought that as soon as knight c6 is played, there is no more tactic here at all. Okay. And but recently I watched some more videos and I came to know that we can continue with this tactic in this particular position by going nc3. Now let's say he once again brings this bishop here. Okay. In this scenario, black when the black knight is on c6, you can't jump directly. You need to play one more move, which is h3. You do this, and then the bishop is under attack. Now black thinks, okay, let us keep the pin alive and go back one step. You can see that instantly, once again, the evaluation goes up in our favor. It's 1.80. Black's idea is simple, right? Now let's say I play normal move, something like this. Then this knight jumps here. I cannot take it because I am still pinned. And now, uh, white has no choice but to get double pawns on the f5. He will take with the knight in the next move. There is no way to protect it, or I have to come here, and it's just not good for us. Okay, that's black's idea. However, we throw all that out the window and once again leave our queen open to the bishop. Once again, if he takes the queen in this scenario, it's m2. Same pattern. Now, ideally he can capture the knight, but we are not going to give him that option. We are going to give this check. King comes upstairs, and we are going to give this check, and we are going to win the game. There's simply no hope there. So, if you are seeing this as black, don't be greedy on this. But for white, we can go. We have +1 now. The best move for black is this. The only good move for black is this. Knight takes knight. Now we jump with the queen and take that bishop. And straight away we have a +1 advantage. But it doesn't end there. It looks as though it's still black can still gain back the advantage by taking this bishop. Black becomes +2 again. Okay. It looks like because the light square bishop was undefended. But the reality is queen jumps back all the way here, checks the king, but at the same time it's attacking this knight and it's attacking this pawn. This pawn and this knight are both undefended and the king is in check. So it doesn't matter whether he pushes the pawn, pushes the queen, or just moves the king away. I mean, don't move the king away and obviously don't move the king away. Don't move the king away from check unless it's absolutely necessary. In this case, it's not. We just move this pawn. Let's see here. Pawn moves. Queen takes knight. And we are good. That's it. White gained a +1 material advantage. On top of that, white has two active pieces. Very soon, this pawn is going to move forward and open up the diagonal for this. Open up this diagonal for this bishop. We are going to castle. We're going to castle. And white will have a very easy game from here. So that's what I wanted to show in this video. So let's do a recap. Again, I used the Philidor's defense as an example, but the principle is if this pin happens and you, but the principle is something like this. Sorry, let me rephrase that again. So the principle is something like this. The light square bishop and both the knights should be out. And then if he does this, you can try to execute this tactic. What you need to ensure is that his queen is in the starting square, his bishop is in the starting square, and his knight is in the starting square. Only if all these three are in the starting square, you can go for this tactic. If the last piece you need to look at is the other knight. If this knight is in the starting square, again you can go for this tactic. But if this knight is in this position, then you need to push this. You need to push this pawn, and only if the bishop goes here, then again you can go for this tactic. Okay, the best for black, the best move here is bring. Let's say I pawn the push. Bishop comes back to e3, trading off this light square bishop. That's the best move that can be done for black. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this particular tactic. There are other videos as well explaining the same tactic. You can check out them as well. You can just search for Legal's Mate on YouTube, and you can find other videos as well. But do mention what you liked about my particular explanation, and more importantly, if you saw something that you dislike, mention that as well. Thank you.